Hello. I thought since I didn't really have a lot of questions, anything to record really with the morning class today, I thought I would just make a video answering some questions on the 3334 worksheet that kind of came up in my in-person class that I don't videotape that might assist you all as you're working through some of these worksheets. So let's just go ahead to the 3.3 worksheet and I'll address some questions that have come up with my in-person class. So 3.3 worksheet with a car purchase, don't forget that you had a down payment when you're calculating your monthly payments. Also, when you go to calculate the unearned interest, don't forget that the F in the formula for the unearned interest is equal to the finance charge. So you'll want to go back to the beginning of unit 3.1 for the definition of finance charge, so that you actually finance charge, I guess it was at the beginning of 3.3, at the very first page of 3.3, where we did the finance charge. And also remember, it's a 60-month loan and we're paying it off in the 30th month. So I'm pretty flexible. And if you use 30 months left or 31 months left, I know the wording on the worksheet is a little bit different than the wording in the book. And so I wanted to make sure that you're using that correctly. Also, don't forget when you calculate the payoff amount that you have to take into account that you have some unearned interest. So remember, the unearned interest is the interest that the bank has not earned from you. And so when you pay off your loan early, you kind of get a credit for that. The second page of the 3.3 worksheet is the two different ways that we pay interest on a credit card. And this first way that they're talking about is the average daily balance method. And so this is using the average daily balance method on A, B, and C. Daily balance. And this first row here, there was no transaction, but you do have a balance from the ending of November to the beginning of December. So that's your initial balance. And then you're going to go through, and after you made payments and purchases, you're going to fill in the rest of this this table here. And then remember, I did also suggest that you would want to put this in your X1 and this in your Y1 in Desmos, because then this you can do just X1 times Y1 in a third column, and it will multiply that for you, which is nice. And in Desmos, you can also do the total of X1 times Y1 divided by 31, and that gives you your average daily balance. Okay, we did that, I think, in the workbook lesson. And then D has to do with the unpaid balance method, which is the first part, the first balance method that they use, which is all based on the balance that was left over from November that you didn't pay in November. So it's based on that one. So make sure you kind of walk through that. And then part E is saying if you make no additional payments or purchases, how much would you owe, not own, but owe after 4 months? So you would have the interest from up here, right? So your balance from one of these, whichever one you use down here is fine, but you're going to have a balance from one of these methods, either the average daily balance or the unpaid balance method. And then you're going to find the interest for the second, the third, and the fourth month. And remember that you get interest on the first month and you didn't pay that interest because it says you didn't make any payments or purchases. And now you've got interest accumulated from the second month to the third month to the fourth month. So something to think about there. And then I wanted to address some questions on the 3.4 worksheet. And when it says 2 years and lives on campus, it's basically using this total column because they're going to go fall and winter for 1 year. They're probably going to take summer off, and then they're going to go fall and winter for the second year. And then you can choose if there's pieces of these costs that you don't think apply when you live on campus, just let me know that you didn't include them. And then B is calculating their costs if they lived, what it says lives in the community. It's like if they lived at home or lived in an apartment. So then just let me know if there's part of this tuition or fees and costs, the room and board. Room would be like if they were in the dorm. Meal plan is if they live in the dorm. So those are things that you're going to think about too, if you are living at home, in the community, or in an apartment. And then number 2 is asking you to calculate the interest that would be earned before the first payment if the student took out an unsubsidized loan. So we're going to use this interest rate here. And remember that unsubsidized means that you're earning interest from the minute they go to college until 6 months after they graduate. So that would be a total of 30 months of interest. And then you're going to want to find that interest for the person living on campus. And then you're also going to want to find it for the interest for the non-campus student. And then once you find the interest for both students from up here in part A and B from 1, then you're going to use that interest and the cost to go to college, and you're going to figure out their monthly payment. So you're going to figure out the monthly payment for both students. Okay, so you're going to have 2 values of interest here in part 2, and then you're going to have 2 values of a monthly payment in part 3, and then what is the total cost of the degree for both students? And we did a total cost of the degree in the workbook, so you want to go back and make sure you're using your course pack to work alongside you. And then of course you can come to my live Zoom sessions or message me or email me, and I'm happy to set up times to meet with you and answer questions as well.